I look back to our history in the terrestrial side of planning, and we weren't involved in the mainstream, into the decision-making process, and all those questions that we deal with now weren't even on the table back 15 years ago. And so we look at using marine planning for the same approach. As First Nations, we have our sovereignty, but you declare your sovereignty by planning and by development and those kinds of issues. And we didn't want to do any development until we had a sustainable plan underneath us that gave us a roadmap towards how you develop sustainably and do these sorts of things into the future. And we've been fortunate enough to build partnerships along the way that integrate this decision. So we're working with the commercial fishers, we're working with the tourism industry, we're working with the Angos. So we're picking the right areas to protect. And that's how you do it, is you just slowly by slowly declare your sovereignty over these areas and you manage them in accordance with a plan. And while we have the sovereignty that we're pushing for, we have the support of the stakeholder and local government community because we jointly developed this planning process and are implementing it together. But while we're doing that at home, it's helping us declare our sovereignty over our lands and resources. The provincial government's jurisdiction only goes so far, the federal jurisdiction only goes so far, but to us as First Nations people, it's all ours. It's all ours to manage and take care of for future generations. So it's important for us to integrate that into mainstream society so the future generations don't have to fight those battles about jurisdiction. They simply have to implement these collaboratively developed plans going on into the future and amend them as needed, and time evolves through scientific data and things like that. But you don't have to keep having these jurisdiction discussions because you just keep doing it as you go. And that's something we learned, is we couldn't wait for government. We couldn't wait for this. We simply had to develop our own marine use plans and then simply encourage government to say, hey, we've got these done. Let's bring this to the table and do these things. And that's something that I'm learning is a little bit unique to our region, that First Nations are actually leading the process. So it's really helped us understand that what we're doing fits within the rest of the world and what they're doing. But it's also helped us understand that as Aboriginal peoples, we've been given an opportunity to lead a process. And we've taken full advantage of that with the partnerships we've developed amongst each other as First Nations communities. The 18-odd First Nations that have officially participated in the MAP process officially work together in the terrestrial planning. So we've built these coalitions and we're using them to their best advantage to help us build these sustainable collaborative plans that are going to help non-Native and Native communities on the coast for generations to come. Well, and it's interesting for us because we still do have those disagreements, but we have them internally, and we still use the plan as the common denominator. So while our community to community may have some different spatial issues, we still have this plan that's the common denominator. It's the language that we're all going to speak going forward. And so it's put us in a tremendous position to be forward-thinking and positive.